"1950s Gibson Les Pauls are some of the most coveted guitars in the world. Everything from their look, their aesthetic, the sound, the mystery that surrounds them fascinates us guitar players. Original models are super rare, but available, prices varying depending on year and condition. Gibson also made a lot of different models that took inspiration from this period, their golden era, the 1950s. Today we're going to look at some modern offerings that Gibson has for Les Pauls based on those 1950s iconic models, and talk a little bit about the differences. Where better to do such a thing than at the Chicago Music Exchange? Our friends over there let us grab a few guitars off of the epic Les Paul wall, and we gave it a go. Let's check it out. Newer 50s style Les Pauls are going to come from one of two places: Gibson USA or the Custom Shop. Gibson USA is going to represent their core range of USA guitars, and the Custom Shop is a separate team of builders that dedicate more attention to specifics that we'll get into later. For now, let's start with the 50s standard Les Paul. Gibson USA 50s Les Paul standard is based on the legendary burst models of the late 50s. Without going up to Custom Shop models, they're as close to the famed 58-59 Les Pauls as you'll get. These pickups sound great clean, and with a nicely overdriven tube amp, you've got the sound of classic rock. Like late 50s models, this guitar has a nice chunky neck profile and a set of tulip-style tuners. It's not far off in terms of spec from the 60s standard, though that one has slightly hotter, brighter pickups and a slimmer neck and Grover tuning pegs. Next up, we have the Les Paul standard 50s P90, which is more akin to a 1956, as opposed to the standard that we just went through, which is a burst late 50s style. P90s have a different tone when compared to most humbuckers. They're not a million miles away tone-wise when compared to a PAF pickup, but there are still some differences. A P90 is essentially an oversized single coil, and they tend to be a little brighter and snappier sounding, with plenty of mid-range bark. They've still got a good lower mid presence that lends some warmth. They're great pickups, versatile, ideal for rock, jazz, blues, punk, and seemingly anything else. As per the P90 models of the time, the Les Paul standard 50s P90 is only available in the gold top finish. Next up, the Gibson Custom Shop, offering a reissue from every year from 1954 to 1959. There are some stark differences between these models, but also some things that unify them. Gibson's Custom Shop is a separate team of builders using advanced techniques to build these guitars. They use different stocks of wood, and for example, you'll find that most Custom Shop Les Pauls feature a one-piece mahogany back, whereas USA models will likely be made of two. Custom Shop Gibsons will also be fitted with different pickups. Normally they will better represent the tone of a particular era or year. They're usually a little more detailed, clear, and dynamic. Gibson's non-wax potted Custom Shop pickups will also help lend an airiness and openness to the sound that's often associated with original 50s models. They will also use slightly different methods and tools in the manufacturing process, like hide glue, for example. This was used on the original models, so it's a more authentic build process. Some even claim that hide glue improves things like sustain and resonance as it binds the two pieces of wood together. All in all, the Gibson Custom Shop guitars tend to be of a higher quality and more in line in terms of specification with original 50s models. Custom shop reissues from the last couple of years are incredibly close to those highly sought after vintage guitars. Gibson have studied them to the closest possible degree and replicated every single part of it, from the pickups to the plastics used throughout. Not everything might affect tone or playability, but it all helps contribute towards an authentic playing experience that a lot of guitarists enjoy. All in all, the Gibson custom shop guitars are built to a higher quality and more in line in terms of specification to those original 50s models. The Gibson custom shop reissues from the last couple of years are incredibly close to those highly sought after vintage guitars. The year after the Les Paul was introduced, Gibson brought out the Les Paul Custom. This was available only in a black finish with gold hardware and featured an ebony fretboard and fully mahogany body with no maple cap. It also utilized the ABR1 bridge, as opposed to the wraparound as seen on the regular gold models. The custom models had lower frets as well, leading them to be nicknamed the Fretless Wonder. In the bridge, you've got a P90, however in the neck position is a somewhat undersung hero of the pickup world, a staple Alnico 5. The Les Paul Standard 50s Custom is currently only built through the custom shop, but if you are looking for a more affordable option, they do have reissues from years past. Check those out on Reverb. In line with the other Les Pauls moving to humbuckers, the custom models adopt Seth Lover's PAFs too. Many Les Paul Customs from mid-1957 to 61 can be found with 3 pickups, though there are also some with 2. Some small changes were made throughout these years, like neck profiles getting gradually thinner, but mostly these customs remained the same. The custom shop has made some incredible Les Paul customs inspired closely by this iconic era, including some with Bigsby tailpieces. And then we get to 1958, the year that Gibson unveils the Burst, one of the most famed, iconic, sought-after guitars ever created. And today, custom shop reissues are pretty popular because who has $250,000 to spend on a guitar? The paint used on 58 and 59 Les Pauls to create the sunburst finish would normally fade over time. Depending on the environment in which the guitar lived, the burst would fade in different ways, which is why the custom shop offers various different burst finishes. 58 Les Pauls are sometimes referred to as plain tops on account of their relatively non-figured maple caps, though there are some examples of both original and reissue 58s with some beautiful figuring. 58s are known for their chunky neck profiles. Modern day reissue models capture this really well, and lots of players opt for this feel. It's worth remembering, however, that original models were carved by hand, so their necks will likely vary from one to another. Late 50s and 1960 Les Pauls are renowned for their tone, so how close do these reissues get to the original sound? Well, the original models wouldn't have been made with the same level of consistency as they are today, so it's likely that the sound will vary more between guitars. The custom Bucker Alnico 3 pickups fitted in the current 57, 58, and 59 reissues are incredibly dynamic, have a broad frequency range with strong lows and crisp, detailed highs that deliver that unmistakable PAF sound. For the budget-minded player, Epiphone also has brought a 50s-inspired contender to the table with their Les Paul Standard 50s, and it's impressive. These models may not have all the same materials or electronics as the Gibson models, but what they have chosen still embodies the spirit and sound of its Gibson namesake. With an all-mahogany body, carved maple cap, with a AAA flamed veneer, a mahogany rounded modern C neck that feels very 50s without being a total baseball bat, Indian laurel fretboard with a period-accurate scale length and radius, and 2 very convincing Pro Bucker pickups that will have plenty of character and articulation. If you're looking for a 50s style Les Paul at a fraction of the price, there has never been a better time to buy an Epiphone Les Paul. Two models also worth mentioning here are the Gibson Les Paul Jr. and the Gibson Les Paul Special. Let's start with the Jr. While the Jr. isn't technically a 50s specific model, it's very much inspired by Gibson's budget Les Paul model introduced in 1954. The Les Paul Jr. features a slab mahogany body with no maple cap that houses a single P90 pickup, one volume knob, and one tone knob. If you want simplicity at its finest, the Les Paul Jr. could well be the one for you. Only a year after Gibson debuted the Les Paul Jr., they introduced the Les Paul Special. This is similar to the Jr. with the addition of a neck pickup and the controls to go with it. Two P90s and a volume and tone knob for each pickup allows you to create a lot of different tones. This was a super fun day, super fun shoot for me, being able to play these classic inspired 50s Les Pauls. I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, big thanks to CME, and all those guitars that I played today at Chicago Music Exchange are available on CME's shop on Reverb. Check those out. Check out the custom shop for all different kinds of spec and variants through the years. I hope this was helpful for you if you're looking for that Les Paul. Cheers, and we'll see you next time.